Well, it looks like Elon Musk's $44 billion Twitter takeover is just about a done deal. We expect it to close officially tomorrow, and it looks like he's ready to get to work, literally. Yesterday, he changed the title of his Twitter bio to Chief Twit. Then later, he barged into the social media giant headquarters carrying a sink, tweeting, "Let that sink in." Clever. And today, he addressed Twitter advertisers, tweeting this: "The reason I acquired Twitter is because it is important to the future of civilization to have a common digital town square where a wide range of beliefs can be debated in a healthy manner without resorting to violence. There is currently great danger that social media will splinter into far right and far left, creating an echo chamber that generates more hate and divides our society." Mark, so tomorrow, 5 p.m. is the deadline. The money has not hit Twitter's account. This is according to Kelly O'Grady over at Fox Business. However, sources have confirmed to her that banks have started moving the debt. It will take till tomorrow, and Twitter has made it clear they won't drop the suit until the money is in hand. So that is the marker, is when that money hits.
So it's a done deal, basically, right? So, and this is a $44 billion deal for a company that might be worth $10 billion. So this, in my opinion, is Elon's charitable contribution to the preservation of democracy, the preservation of free speech. I think it's incredible that he's doing this. I don't know if he initially thought that it would happen, but I think it's incredible he's doing this. And you know, you watch him walk in with the sink. And he tweeted out, let this sink in or let that sink in. But I think that's also kind of symbolic of what he intends to do with Twitter, is really cleansing that social media platform of censorship. And he mentioned potentially getting rid of 75% of the thought police. And I don't think that necessarily meant 75% of the total employees, but 75% of the content moderators, to finally give people a chance to have a platform where you can have discussion on both sides of the aisle.
Yeah, I love that. His charitable contribution to society, Harris, because we all remember when Tim Scott's name trended as Uncle Tim.
It's a racial slur.
Yeah, we remember that when Stacey Abrams made her ridiculous comment that the heart doesn't beat before 6 weeks. In fact, it was Twitter who wrote, "Doctors have proven that she's right," as the description. My point is they've tilted this platform left. It'd be nice to have a free speech app.
Yeah, you know, I'm going to push back just a little bit here, because I do worry about the fact that there are some bad actors on Twitter. What's he going to do with the Ayatollah Khomeini? Like, what's he going to do with that account? Is he going to leave enough people behind to be watching those accounts? Because make no mistake about it, they hate us. And, you know, you put Kanye West on, and then you had all of those incendiary comments. Well, there are a lot of people who think like that toward Jews who might be following the Ayatollah's account. Like, a bigger picture in all of this is absolutely push back on cancel culture. But we got to be there to see the ones who might want to harm people, particularly Americans, particularly the people that we said we never see it happen again.
Most great entrepreneurs stay away from communications and public-facing roles. They just like to create. They like to be very private. I give him a ton of credit. He is the entrepreneur innovator of our times. He's turning himself into a social media sex symbol. He's very funny on Twitter. He gives it as well as he gets. He went after the New York Times this week, which is funny. And look, there was an NPR study in 2020 that roughly 92% of all tweets were being sent by 10% of users. That tells you all you need to know about the lack of a public square. So I think if he makes it more fun, a lot of the sour and dour people who currently occupy Twitter all day, just talking to each other, it's going to be opened up, and he's going to have fun with it. Last point, he survived the worst thing that could happen to you on Twitter, right? They made fun of his body. They showed him on vacation looking a little overweight. He went and lost the weight and walked into Twitter yesterday like the boss man he is. And I can't wait to see what he does. I can't wait to see what he does.
I hope a part of that is an internal investigation into why they censored one of the biggest newspapers in the country, the New York Post, with Hunter, apropos given our last segment.
And that there would then be accountability or consequences for the results that are likely to occur with that. I love that he, and I normally hate this word, but that he's the ultimate disruptor. And the reason I don't like that word is because it's been overused usually by the progressive left and the tech nerds to symbolize some type of like shaking everything up, but always within the very small confines that they have prescribed for the rest of us. But he actually is the disruptor. I just wonder, and I'm just sort of musing here, however, that he's right that it's been devolved into sort of the far left and the far, an extremist fringe, right? To your point, 90% of the content by 10% of the users. But I wonder if the normal, the moderate, the common sense, if they're now just disgusted. You know when you get a draft and you're editing it, you know what? It's easier to just start over rather than try to edit. And I wonder if it's gone too far. I wonder if most people are looking at that digital town square and saying, you know what? It's too rotten. I'm never going to step back in. Or if he does have that potential to really shake it up, to really clean house, clean out that abscess, and make it a town square that all of us would actually participate in.
You know what
So that
gives me
remains to
hope
be seen.
in the sense, because of what he's done for other countries who were in trouble.
Starlink, yeah.
Yeah,
through
that's
Starlink.
right.
I do have faith that he will look at the situation for the potential that it has to bring people together, because he gave a voice to the voiceless. Literally, their satellites were gone.
Yeah.
And he stepped in and did that.
That's right.
And when he says an open town square without the violence, without the threat, I take him at his word. I just want him to have enough employees to make that happen.
5 p.m. tomorrow, Twitter may have a new boss, looking very likely.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.